All right, now let's do a question where we have to determine the future value of uneven cash flow. So you want to buy a house within 3 years and you are currently saving for the down payment. You plan to save $5,000 at the end of the first year, and you anticipate that your annual savings will increase by 10% annually thereafter. Your expected annual return is 7%. How much will you have for a down payment at the end of year 3? Once again, starting off with a timeline, we want to make sure that we're very clear on what is happening across the next 3 years. So 1, 2, and 3. Because you plan to save $5,000 at the end of the first year, we're going to go ahead and write that right down. Okay. And you anticipate your annual savings will increase by 10% annually thereafter. That means in the second year, you're going to save 10% more than the first year. So if we want to determine what 10% more than 5,000 is going to be, we'll simply do 5,000 multiplied by 1.10, and that's $5,500. So in the second year, we're going to save 5,500. And then in the next year, again, we're going to save another 10% on top of that. And so that will actually be equal to 1.1 multiplied by 5,500 gives us $6,050. So we're going to be saving $6,050 at the end of the third year. Now that we know what our savings plan is going to be, we know that our expected annual return is 7%. So our interest rate is going to be 7%. And they're asking how much will we have for our down payment at the end of year 3. So as a lump sum at the end of year 3, how much money are we going to have in order to make the down payment for our house? This basically means that we want to calculate the future value of all 3 cash flows for the end of year 3, because this is where future value is going to fall. So we'll calculate the future value of this $6,050. We will calculate the future value of this $5,500, and we will calculate the future value of this $5,000. And because we're using a mixed cash flow, we're going to be utilizing the simple future value formula, which, if we remember, is future value equals to present value times 1 plus I to the power of n, where the present value is going to represent each cash flow, the I represents the compounded rate, and n represents the number of years it will take to get to that particular point in the timeline. And so if we start off with this 5,000, we'll start off earlier in the timeline. That means that we will have 5,000 times 1.07 to the power, and this is going to be compounded once and then twice in order to get to that point in time in the future value. We're just laying out the calculations first. For the $5,500, the formula is going to be 5,500 times 1.07. This amount is going to be compounded only once. So this is what our formula is going to be. And for the 6,050, it's 6,050 times 1.07, because it stays exactly where it is. It does not need any compounding. It's to the power of 0. Now we're going to plug these into a calculator one by one. Anything to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So this is simply 6,050. And if we do 5,500 multiplied by 1.07, you plug that into a calculator and you get 5,885. And then lastly, for the amount where it's going to be compounded for 2 years, we'll do 5,000 multiplied by 1.07 to the power of 2, and we'll get 5,724.5. Now, if we add all 3 of these amounts, we will get 17,659.5. And so that is the answer that will give you the final value. How much will you have for a down payment at the end of year 3? You are going to have $17,659.5 at the end of year 3 for your down payment. Don't forget to like and subscribe and drop a comment below if you have any further questions. Thank you.